I'm not as good as Joel Pearl with this intro. I don't know what I'm clicking and all this stuff. The overlay was still there as I meant to pull it away at the last second. This is why Joel is the host and not me, everybody. Hello, everyone. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. It is not FMC. It is In the Weeds on a Monday, July 31st, the final Monday of July. It's almost August, SP3. It is almost August. How you doing, buddy?
Where's this year even gone? Like, it feels like yesterday it was January. But I am back in the weeds. It's been so long. I am back. The sixth man, the utility player, the pitch hitter, the linear WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Champion. Because there's only been two. I'm the third. Get it? But yes, I am back on In the Weeds. Thank you for having me, Jeremy. I'm always honored when you or Joel ask me to be on this very successful show. You guys have taken something that was just an idea, a nugget of an idea, and have let it grow to be the most watched show on Fightful Overbooked. And I say that and as huge praise because I come from the least watched show on Fightful Overbooked because it's a wrestling channel and I'm on the non-wrestling show.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if FMC is actually the least watched show. You're a draw, buddy. Like I actually like. Yeah, we do. So for people who don't know, I assume like everyone knows that at this point that SP3 and I do a basketball show on Tuesdays, but for the fact that it's a wrestling channel and we do a basketball show every Tuesday, it does like halfway decent viewership.
It does.
It does,
especially when you pick the right headline or the right thumbnail and then it pops. I see the big number jumps where you pick the right ones. Like, those are really good. Oh yeah, I forgot my other nickname, the substitute. Thank you, Lou. I am the substitute teacher of Fightful.
Rob Wilkins made the thumbnail for the last one. I think he's going to start doing thumbnails for FMC. But yeah, it's got the Paul Pierce when he had to take a dump and the Barbie movie as well, because our pal Cher Delaware reviewed the Barbie movie. But I'm not. Well, I love all the contributors that contribute to Fightful Overbooked. I don't think it's the least watched. Independent basketball on a wrestling channel is a bigger draw than independent wrestling on the wrestling channel.
You gotta love how that works. Yeah. But nah, I say that in jest. I have so much fun. I tell Jeremy every single week after we press the end broadcast. I have so much fun on FMC, laughing, joking, talking about basketball, talking about trash reality. So I'm glad that we have chances to talk about wrestling. It's like kind of like our thing that we don't talk about. It's like something in a long relationship. Somebody cheated on one another. Y'all don't talk about it too often. But then when y'all do talk about it, you grow and you progress so much. That's how I feel when I talk to Jeremy Lambert about that dirty word called wrestling.
Also, one of the highest like viewership totals that is on this channel is the wedding episode from FMC. So yes. Weddings pop a rating as usual. That's one that did over 1,000 views, I believe. So yeah, weddings are always gonna pop a rating. So there you go, everybody.
Weddings pop a rating. We popped a rating with Cara and Paulie.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we're all about. We're gonna do more reality television interviews for the second half of. We gotta double our interviews from last year, which was 1, and we got to do 2 this year. So we're 1 away. We
did Mark Long. Oh yeah, we did Mark.
Yeah. I said yeah. That was this year. So we got to double it. We got to do 1 more, and we doubled last year.
We'll do another interview this year at some point. I don't know with who, but we'll get Paula and Cara. Paul. I'm gonna screw Paulie.
You did it again.
Oh, I always do. I can't speak.
I'm sorry. We have to tell that story when we interviewed them again. That you legit have like switched their names.
I can't. I cannot speak at all. Like it's awful. Like I do it every single time. I always say Paula and Kari. Like, that's not their names. I apologize to them. It's not their names at all.
Imagine someone comes up to like Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch and be like, "Hey, Sethy and Beck."
Beck would probably be okay. Like, if it's Beth, if they go Beth, then that might be an issue.
Oh,
but,
there you go. Yes, yes.
But Beck
Sethy and Beck and Beth.
Yeah, Beck might be okay because it's just I just dropped the Y or whatever. But Sethy, I don't know how that would go. Yeah, I'm awful. I just word jumble comes out of my mouth. Legit, just word jumble. We had a lot to talk about in the world of the professional wrestling. It was a big weekend for wrestling. Collision was a hot show on Saturday night, and then last night we had NXT Great American Bash. We're gonna get into all of that throughout this episode, and also at the end of the show, I'm gonna invite Joel Pearl on. He's a coward and decided not to show up to work today. You know, must be nice to have days off around here. But Beth and sex, says Louis.
That's awesome.
How that works.
We got to do that for all these couples now.
Just flip their names. That was the thing when it was Heidi and Spencer, Spidey. You know, the celebrity name, the Spidey, and then Bennifer. Yeah. That was like the big two that were out there. But like that's what everybody did. They did the celebrity name thing. Yeah. Now the new trend that I'm gonna start is flipping the names.
Flipping the ends, keeping the beginning of people's names, but flipping the ends with their partners.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. I got an announcement at the end of the show. I'm going to invite Joel Pearl on at the end of the show because he should probably be here for this, although I'm pretty sure he knows what it is. It is all good news, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for supporting In the Weeds, the great fans of In the Weeds. We have exciting things coming up on this show. Did you want to take a guess at what it was or something there, SP3? I saw you.
No, I'm sorry, guys. I just popped myself. And I just came up with Monica and Bianca's.
Oh, Bianca is kind of a cool name, honestly.
It is. That popped me. That's what was the face. When I raised my hand, I was like, ooh, that's good.
Bianca's is a good name. I actually like that. They should name a child Bianca's.
Bianca's.
Yeah, yes. All right, everyone. Let's get into the actual wrestling of things. We appreciate everybody here in the chat. Leave a thumbs up on the video. Give us a little thumbs up there. Send us super chats if you would like. Get your question, comment, statement read on the air. All the money we make off of this channel goes to the contributors. I don't see any of it. Joel doesn't see any of it. Kate doesn't see any of it. So support the people who contribute with their time and their efforts in publishing videos on this channel. We really appreciate them. And subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed. If you are here and you are not subscribed to FightfulOverbook.com, please subscribe to the channel. Tap the bell for notifications. And all right, I think that's everything. I think I did everything. Let's get into it. We're gonna start with Collision, SB3, because I feel like this is as good as Melo and Dragunov was last night. Big things happening on Collision, and the biggest thing happening, CM Punk, he pulled out what was in his bag. It is his AEW world title. He spray painted an X over the E. People are freaking out. Oh my God, it means he doesn't like the Elite. He still has issues with them. Oh no. Not because the E's in the middle and the X intersects at the middle.
Wow.
Math, everybody. Or is that math?
People actually did that?
Hey, you're online, SB3. You see
I tend to keep myself out of the wrestling genre. I have fixed my For You section where mostly it's basketball. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's what lists are for. That's why I have lists to look at everything. But yes, people were going crazy over, it's so meaningful that he put it over, meaningful good or bad, that he put it over the E in the AEW. That's why he still has issues with them and everything. It's like the E's in the middle. Like, if the W was in the middle, it would have been over the W, and the X wasn't going to look lopsided like that. He wanted a perpendicular. Is that the right term? Perpendicular X. Yeah.
I think so.
Like that's, what are we doing? here. Anyway, so we have oh, sorry, I'm getting a bunch of messages. So we have the real world champion. We have the real world champion, CM Punk, and then he's going to defend the title this week on Collision against Ricky Starks with Ricky Steamboat as the special outside official. And CM Punk mentioned All In Wembley Stadium. He also referenced that he's the first person to mention this because that's been a big thing of like nobody's talking about All In. We're less than a month away. We got no matches announced. And here we are with CM Punk being like, yeah, nobody's talking about this. I'm going to mention it. Kind of hinted that it'll be him and MJF, assuming MJF is still the champion, for the title in a unification bout. Again, that was a hint. That was not official, but that was the hint from CM Punk. SB3, what'd you make of this whole thing with the red bag?
I mean, this was if you've been watching Collision the past 7 weeks, it was no surprise that it was the old AEW World Championship. If you listen to his comeback promo, it shouldn't have been a surprise. I like this promo. I like the, getting across that he's the real world champion. I don't think that we should have had, just Ricky Starks coming out. I think that Punk should have been the one to challenge Ricky Starks and saying, "You beat me." I said no one will have this title until someone beat me. You beat me regardless of if I like it or not. So you're going to be the first one that gets the opportunity. And then Ricky comes out. I think that would have made things a little bit more smoother, a little bit more cleaner. But I thought both guys performed really well. I thought the segment came off well. And I don't think we're getting that unification match at All In. I think that they do MJF and Adam Cole maybe at All In, and Punk maybe versus Samoa Joe now that he's versing Ricky Starks on next week's show with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat as the referee. I think after that matchup, you have Joe come in and attack him to kind of reignite that feud and the fact that he beat him up after their matchup in the Owen Hart Cup. And then that sets up the matchup at in the UK. And Joe can still say, anytime a title has been on the line, I'm undefeated against CM Punk. I have never lost to CM Punk with a title on the line. So if you want to be specific, you know how WWE loves to do that. Oh, he's never been pinned. He's been defeated, but he's never been pinned. So you change the context of it and you say Punk has never beaten Joe in a title match, and that's the build for All In. And you can have Joe beat up certain people, beat up Dax and Cash to get under Punk's skin to build you to the UK, and then that builds into basically this is like the semifinals to the unification matchup. Because you got 2 pay-per-views back-to-back, apparently. Because now the reports have revealed that apparently Comcast has the All-In pay-per-view for $50. So they're expecting AEW fans to spend $100 in 7 days. So you do the 2 title matches in the UK, and then you do the big unification match. That will be the draw for All Out. Punk versus MJF. You got to put that on the second pay-per-view. You can't put it on the first pay-per-view. First pay-per-view will sell itself. You're seeing history. The harder sell is All Out. That's why you put the title unification there.
That makes sense to me. I like the way Punk was teasing it. It feels like you got to do the unification match at All In, but then it's okay. When do you do MJF and Cole? Then do you do MJF and Cole at All Out if MJF beats Punk? Because MJF said he would give a title shot to Cole. Does MJF lose to Punk at All In, and then you still do MJF and Cole, or maybe Punk and Cole at All Out? I don't know. This is the issue with having kind of 2 pay-per-views back to back like this, is you've got to figure out a way to how they intersect and work together when booking pretty much your entire company, because you got to sell both of these pay-per-views, especially if there is no bundle, especially if there is. And I think there will be some type of bundle. I know Comcast has them both listed as 50. I feel like through Bleacher Report, you can maybe get a discount. Maybe I would hope they would work that out. Otherwise, asking fans to pay $100 back to back, $50 back to back, $100 total weeks like that. fans will probably do it, but that's asking a lot out of that. If you can get both of those pay-per-views for, I don't know, 75, at least it's a $25 discount there. It's a lot better.
I will say, as someone first time ever for Forbidden Door, I used my VPN. I have a VPN that I use to watch UK stuff, UK reality shows mostly, but I used it for Fight TV. Do you know how much Forbidden Door was on Fight TV if you're in Europe? Because I always put it for the UK usually, so I put it for Europe. It was only $20. $20 for that show. I paid $30 less than most Americans. And I was like, yeah, probably Fight TV will be the one to go with because they'll probably have a very affordable bundle. If they sold Forbidden Door for $20 when it was $50 for the rest of us Americans, then I can see them selling for the combo of all in, all out for like something between 50 to 75 maybe.
So what you're saying is everybody should, I don't know if we have a VPN sponsorship. I know it used to be VPN. I feel like if we do, that's for the main channel. We need some sponsorships here on Overbooked. Somebody, where's the VPN people to give us a sponsorship here on Overbooked? But it used to be Nord. So everybody get a VPN, and then you can also use the good WWE network and not the Peacock version, which is
Oh my God. That was torture last night, Jeremy. That was torture. I just because sometimes I have the the VPN. I think we only use it for like one of the TVs. So either we have it in the room or we're watching reality television, but I usually watch the wrestling in the living room. So I don't have it connected when she's watching something in the bedroom. So she was watching something last night and I had to use Peacock. Oh my God. I was so frustrated. Then I tried to watch, after that great main event, I tried to watch Ilya Dragunov versus Walter from NXT UK. And the commercials, Jeremy, the commercials. Oh, my God. I wanted to quit watching it right from there.
Yeah, the commercials on Peacock, especially if you don't have like the premium or whatever, yeah, you get the commercials in the middle of the live event. It's just what you got to deal with. As far as the Punk stuff goes, I'm glad they finally did the title reveal. The first promo, it was strongly hinted at. It was basically implied that was what was in the bag, of course, until he did the reveal. No one truly knew what it was. Putting the X over it was, I thought, hilarious. That he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to spray paint this X over it to differentiate the two titles. He obviously called MJF out a little bit of like, straight edge means I'm better than you, which long time CM Punk catchphrase. And he's like, yeah, that's not stolen. MJF stealing this catchphrase out here. I understand why MJF didn't come out on that. Like he had his own kind of dealing with FTR and the main event and everything. A little curious that it didn't happen though, because like if you're going to do this big, I'm the real world champion promo and everything, when we know MJF is in the building, we know MJF is about to wrestle in a half hour, it feels like your world champion should come out and be like, what are you talking, dude? You left. Like you're the one who left the company. You got injured. You did whatever you did. I'm sure MJF will reference it in his promo on Dynamite, but you pieced out. You got suspended. You got yourself suspended. I won this title. You left. That's it. Like a little curious that MJF didn't actually come out and confront him. And it was Ricky Starks to set up the match. It felt like MJF probably should have come out in that moment, or maybe just don't do that title reveal on this show. Maybe you should have done it. Maybe you should have saved it for Dynamite. I know CM Punk doesn't show up for Dynamite. He only shows up for Collision. He's not supposed to be there on Dynamite. He's a collider. Well, I know they didn't want to save it for next week because they have the CM Punk Ricky Starks match next week, and they're trying to load up next week being this week. They're trying to load up that show because it's going up against SummerSlam and everything. So they got like 3 title matches, but the layout of it, of having CM Punk do the big title reveal on this show where we know the world champion is on the show and is about to wrestle, and then your world champion doesn't come out and confront CM Punk, a little off-putting for me. I thought MJF kind of took an L by not coming out there and kind of shooting down Punk's comments, honestly.
So, like, what I saw with like Collision in the first 5 weeks is it felt like the old AEW where they built the show for that 5 week period to blow off on the 15th with the Owen Hart Cup finals and the big 58-minute match with FTR and Bullet Club Gold. So I thought last week was going to be the full reset for the next arc of the show. So I would have put the Punk promo last week. So then there's none of this doubt and worry that you're talking about with MJF being in the building. Why is he addressing it? It would have been out the window, because I do agree with you. That's a very good point, that it is kind of a logic hole in the whole scenario that you have the owner of the AEW World Championship in the building, but he's worried about being best friends with somebody in the tag team titles instead of someone questioning his status as the top guy in the promotion. So yeah, I do get where you're coming from with that, and that's why I would have put the promo last week. Then you get 2-week build to Ricky and Punk. You could have done the same thing and have Ricky come out, say, I'm the Owen Hart Cup winner. I beat you last week. So that is technically mine now. Like I said before, he should have been like, you said no one's beating you for it. I beat you. So that's technically mine now. And then you have 2 weeks to build out for the big Ricky and Punk matchup and really have a concentrated build to make that show pop a rating against SummerSlam. But it is what it is. They did it this way. It was on this week. Like I said, I thought it was a good promo, but there's a lot of things that they have to address to kind of neatly kind of tie the bow on this. But they do have a lot of interesting, intriguing storylines going on with AEW, because you got the MJF Adam Cole thing. I thought it was the right decision not breaking them up in the main event. And now you got CM Punk, the real world champion, on Collision. Is he going to be defending the title on Collision? What is he going to do for All In, All Out? You have those questions being asked by fans. So that means you have two things that is intriguing the fans in a big way.
When it comes to Punk and MJF, so we both think that the unification match is coming, whether it be All In, All Out. You're going to do the unification match at some point. Should Punk and MJF have, I know it's not technically a 1 week build, because they have just the history to play off of, but it kind of is. Let's say they go with your scenario. It kind of is a 1 week build, in the sense that you're building towards MJF and Adam Cole for All In, and you're building towards CM Punk for Samoa Joe for All In. Okay, the winners face each other at All Out. So you got 1 week to build All Out. Is CM Punk can appear on that Dynamite? It's in Chicago, so I assume he'd be on that Dynamite. I assume he'd be on that Collision. They can do a good enough job in two shows to catch everybody up on the history and everything. But it also feels like for a world title match, for a unification match, I mean, I guess Moxley and Punk only had like that 1 week build.
I was going to say, that was my counter argument.
People didn't like that though.
We're talking about a company that did a 2 week title unification build. They literally did this.
But people did not like that. I loved it. I was there. That was fantastic.
I loved it. But I wouldn't say people didn't like it. I think it was very down the middle. It was very polarizing. Yeah. Where you had people that strongly loved it, like you and me, and then you had people that strongly hated it and didn't like that. Did it pop a rating is the question? Yes, it did. Did it create some interesting television? Yes, it did. So I think it was a success at the end of the day, and that's another direction that I think MJF can go in, where you can have both guys cutting promos on Dynamite and Collision, and they're cutting promos on both of their opponents, on the fact that Adam Cole and MJF, with the fact that they didn't break up on this episode, they can build this as a friendly competition. Just best friends going at it for the AEW World Championship. So all the vitriol and the usual MJF promo work would go towards Punk. being like, I have to get through my best friend, and whoever wins between me and my best friend is going to face the guy that got squashed by the guy that I beat for the world championship. Because that's another point where if you don't want to talk about the Elite and Punk situation, something that no heel has brought up to Punk is the fact you got washed by Moxley before you cried and begged, and your best friend picked up a contract for you to get a rematch at All Out before you got injured again. Like, you got punked out. The last 2 times you were in the ring, you got injured and you got beat in 3 minutes. Like, do you really want to face me, MJF? I'm at the top of my game. Like, there's a lot of different ways MJF can bring that vitriol, and he doesn't have to have face-to-face promos, and they could save the real face-to-face, first time face-to-face since Punk returned for that final week of build.
I do think MJF is going to bring up a lot of these points. We know MJF is very biting in his promos. Like, we know he's going to take any shot that he can at CM Punk when it comes to the build on this. And there's a lot of material on the table still for Punk. Some people have hit on a couple of things. You know, Ricky kind of mentioned like, you don't have any friends type of thing. But they haven't hit on some of the more biting stuff. And if anybody's going to do it, it's probably going to be MJF, because he's MJF. You know, what can and can't be said? What is Punk going to be comfortable enough? You obviously need to clear these things with Punk, otherwise he might not take too kindly if he's caught off guard with these things. But yeah, I think MJF is definitely gonna attack those areas on him. They got to have a face-to-face at some point. That's biting stuff. They have to have a face-to-face at some point. I imagine it would be the final week of All Out and going into the unification match. Let's say they do the unification match at All In, because that was, again, what was more hinted at than just Punk having a match at All In. Let's say they do the unification match at All In. How are you kind of booking that? Like, what are we looking at is who should win, and then what happens going into All Out if you do the unification match at All In?
Yeah, that's why I really think it should be at All Out, because the tougher sell is, there's a reason why WWE puts the real main event of WrestleMania on night 2, because night 2 is the harder selling ticket. Night 1's going to sell itself. People come to whatever say they have WrestleMania at, they're going to come to at least one of the nights of WrestleMania, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to be night 1. They might not go to night 2, and that's why they put that main event matchup on night 2 to draw the people. That's why the unification match needs to be on All Out if you're going to draw people to buy this pay-per-view. If you have it at All In, you can kind of draw out the whole MJF and Adam Cole thing, where you peak it and you have MJF turn on Adam Cole maybe 2 weeks before, and then that's the matchup for All Out. The winner of the unification matchup at All In faces Adam Cole for the AEW World Championship, because I did think that it was very key in the main event matchup with FTR and Better Than You, Baby, that MJF took the pinfall. So you also got to ask the question, how does Dax Harwood figure into this whole situation with the AEW World Championship? Because now he owns a victory over the AEW World Champion. Could we see an AEW World Title defense on TV before we get to All In and All Out? A lot of these questions, need to be asked and need to be figured out, because the AEW World Championship seems to be kind of tied to the AEW World Tag Team Championships, even after this matchup that we saw on Saturday, due to Dax getting a victory over MJF. They can run back FTR versus MJF and Adam Cole at All In. They have a bunch of different options right now.
So what are we doing? SP3?
I told you. I've been told you my plan. I told you from the beginning. You do Adam Cole and MJF.
No, I'm telling you. I'm asking you. What are we doing if we do Punk and MJF at All In? Pick me a winner, and then book the world title match for All Out.
MJF has to win the title unification match, regardless of what it happens. MJF has to win it because he's the only one of the two that can be on both shows with no issues. So MJF wins the title unification match. Plus, you want to build it out to the end of the year with the whole bidding war of 2024 and MJF holding this title hostage. And we have to have MJF interact with some way, somehow, and feud before the end of the year with the elite, with an elite member at the very least. Whether it's Kenny Omega, whether it's Hangman Adam Page, they need to be one of the title contenders for the end of the year, whether that's Full Gear or whether that's Winter is Coming. So MJF has a lot left on the table for him as champion, especially if you're doing it at All In. You're not going to do MJF and Adam Cole as not a title matchup. So that should be the title matchup at All Out. So MJF wins, unified champion, going into All Out to first Adam Cole. Meanwhile, CM Punk, he can go one-on-one with Samoa Joe at All Out in Chicago and get revenge. Finally beating him in Chicago. He's never beaten Joe in Chicago. Could go with that route. If you don't want to do Joe and Punk as a title match, you could do Joe and Punk in Chicago, and Joe could say, "You've never beaten me in Chicago. We've went to draws. I've beaten you. You never beaten me in Chicago." Go that way. So
I like that idea, and that's kind of where I was gonna go as well. Of you do MJF and Punk at All Out, and then you hold on one second. You do that. You do Punk and MJF at All In. You do the unification match there. MJF has to win because, like you said, they got to stretch out the 2024 thing, which hasn't been referenced as much, thankfully. But they're definitely going to come back around to that in the final third of the year. 100%. They're going to come back around to that. And then you do Punk and whoever at All Out. Joe makes sense, but you do MJF and Cole at All Out because that's something you've been building for the past couple weeks, months now at this point. And by the time you get to September, it'd be over 2 months. And MJF wins that. That's when I think you kind of get the more dastardly MJF. Maybe after the match, MJF kind of wins. Oh, shake hands type of thing. But then MJF does the big turn on Adam Cole and just completely takes him out there, gets back to his, villainous MJF ways. That's when you get the elite sticking up for Adam Cole because that's their friend. Because I'm in agreement with you that if MJF is going to be like, hey, 2024, I'm out of here, the bidding war, I'm going to WWE type of thing, it makes the most sense to have, and I think Omega is the best choice in this one. It makes sense to have Kenny Omega come out and be like, no, this company was founded, it's the elite. You're not leaving, despite CM Punk putting the X to the E, you are not leaving this company with this title without going through us. And then, if MJF resigns, then okay, he can maybe keep the title. If he doesn't, then you get the title on Omega, Hangman, whoever it might be. I also agree with your point that it makes sense to MJF winning. Otherwise, you're just keeping that title on Collision because I don't know if Punk is working both of these shows here. But Punk would be a shot in the arm for Dynamite. I didn't think Dynamite was that good last week.
No.
I
think Collision easily cleared them. That was the first week where I was like, yeah, this is easily a 10-8, 10-7 round for Collision this week.
Yeah. West Blade says, isn't there a plot hole with Cole attacking the Bucks? Yeah, there is. I think the way to explain that is just the Young Bucks being like, he's our friend. He did what he needed to do at the time. Things happened. We forgive and forget type of thing. It hasn't been resolved at all. And that's sort of an issue in totality, but Adam Cole's been back since February, March. And they really haven't interacted or anything. Adam Cole's a babyface. He kind of had to be a babyface after everything. You tie it back around of just look, he attacked us. That's fine. He did what he felt he needed to do at the time. Things, unfortunately, took a turn for the worst with this thing. At the end of the day, he is our friend. If someone's going to take him out like that, we're going to stick up for him. And you can address the attack and stuff in a backstage segment with Cole or an in-ring promo with Cole type of thing. You can easily reunite, get them back on the same page, whether it's backstage, in-ring. Please don't do it on BTE. You have a lot of television time to resolve all of this. I do think it should be mentioned, though, because, that was kind of just an unresolved thing of Undisputed Era, where now Kyle O'Reilly is out of action. Bobby Fish is no longer with the company. But it's still some unresolved stuff with, Adam Cole. When Omega said he was going to take time away, Cole stepped up like, "Oh, I'll be the leader for the group," type of thing. But you could resolve that pretty easily with a promo segment.
All you have to do is one backstage segment, and it could be very simple where it ties into the whole current storyline. So then there's a build up to the Elite getting involved where you can have either Roddy tell them, and they come up to Adam Cole and be like, "Yeah, we've seen how you and MJF have gotten close over the last couple of weeks. We've seen Roddy trying to talk sense into you. We heard Britt on the phone with you trying to talk sense into you. We have been uneasy since you came back due to what happened previously between us, but you have to realize who this guy is. We had a friend before that didn't realize who he was until it was too late. We don't want to see the same thing happen to you." It's over. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. I wrote the promo for you.
Yeah, you don't need I'm cool with Bucks being reluctant to help. This shouldn't just come. I don't want them running out. Like, I'm saying end All Out with MJF beating the shit out of Adam Cole and nobody comes and help. MJF is just pool of Adam Cole's blood or whatever, however you're going to take him out. MJF holds
or Roddy
the title up
with his broken neck, and then MJF just punches him out.
If Roddy wants to come out and get destroyed as well, that's fine. I don't want the Bucks or Omega running out at all during that. I want them to just kind of slow play it a little bit of maybe addressing it on the next episode of Dynamite type of thing. Yeah, I don't want them running out at that moment. I want MJF to go off the air of All Out as just beating up Adam Cole, beating him in the match, and then really turning on him and beating him up.
And you know what else I thought of? If you do that segment, the backstage segment, and you do it in like this month, like August, you do it in August in the build up to the eventual MJF Adam Cole world title matchup, you can do Better Than You, Baby versus the Young Bucks. Oh my God, that would be after what we've seen from this team, and we know how the Young Bucks can do, an athletic, great matchup. Plus, they could do some comedy. Yeah, and that seems like the perfect team to verse MJF and Adam Cole, and that builds to the whole eventual friendly world title matchup at All In. And if they do the matchup at All In, they can still do the turn there as well. The same thing you're talking about, where he turns heel, and then it's none of the Elite comes out. It's actually CM Punk who comes out to make the save, to set up the face-to-face on either Collision or Dynamite, and the unification match at All Out.
Cyclops is better than Wolverine. Brings up the true point here. Time to bring back Big Dick Bob Fish, baby.
I agree.
Gotta get him back in the mix.
I got his number. Just let me know if you need it, Tony. Let me know. I got his number. Bobby Fish. You just have to. I'll call his number. You just have to come up with the right number. That's all.
We need CM Punk on Collision. It's been like, tell me when I'm telling lies. And then here comes Big Dick Bob. Like, folks, where is the lie? The lie is in the ring. CM Punk has always been telling lies. That's what we need, baby. We need that CM Punk Bob Fish rematch to see how that's going to go down. Shoot fighter Bob Fish. He's got to win. He's got to win in combat sports. Unlike CM Punk, Bob Fish has got a knockout on his record, baby.
Bob Fish could kick out of the go to sleep at 3.05 again.
Oh, Bob Fish is winning. Put Punk down. Let's see him in a shoot fight. MMA fight. We're going to get Punk and Bob Fish in an MMA fight. That's the fight that we need. That's the real fight. Get this Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler nonsense out of here.
Fight Pit. Give us Fight Pit. Punk versus Fish.
I want this MMA match. Bob Fish has got a boxing victory. He can do it. He can do this.
Bob Fish is a bad man. So you don't want that smoke with Bob Fish.
I don't know. Fish is striking. Like, he actually trains in the striking aspect.
Yeah.
and everything. Punk is, I mean, he's a grappler. He has more grappling experience. That's what is if he has any expertise, I guess it's that. I think Fish maybe lights him up a little bit on the feet, though. I think Fish wins that fight.
I think so too. I
Yeah.
think Fish easily. He catches him with the hands. All he has to do is stand up with him, catch him with those hands. Punk can't handle the hands.
Now, Punk striking is what it is, and this was, you know, when he was actually training MMA and looking to do it. I don't know about full time, but looking to do it as a career and everything. His striking just wasn't very good. Maybe Punk on the ground can catch him in something.
And I don't even know about that because Bob Fish is a submission expert. He's got a Muay Thai background himself. Oh man, he ain't ready for Bob Fish. Great guy.
Yeah, Bob Fish has ultimate old man strength. Well, that's what happens when you were born in the 1920s. You do have ultimate old man strength. Bless Bob Fish. Get him back in the mix, baby. We love the Bob Fish. Anything else from CM Punk's promo, potential build, potential threads of where they go? Should Ricky Starks win on Saturday? Because I think that's the true question. And yes, he should.
And yes, he should, but he won't, unfortunately, with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I'm just hoping that this isn't the end of this Ricky Starks push. This matchup with Punk on Collision. I hope that he's still featured as one of the top heels on this show because I think that he's helped this show. The guys that have helped this show kind of create its own identity and that I watch Saturday nights for is the Ricky Starks, is Christian Cage, is Bullet Club Gold. Those are the guys that have been shining on this show. So I hope they continue to allow Ricky Starks to shine in this heel role.
I think Fish, sorry. Bring back Bob Fish.
Still thinking about Bobby Fish.
Still always thinking about Bob Fish.
The draw.
Not a day goes by where I don't think about Bob Fish, maybe. I think Starks will be fine. I hope he will be fine. It was good that they followed up with the own tournament win by giving him another good victory in the tag team match against Darby and Punk. He did the good promo on Saturday, face to face with Punk. He's got the big match now with Punk. I don't suspect he will win, but I think he'll be okay on this on Collision because it does seem like Collision has really narrowed down sort of their focus on certain people, certain acts. Starks is definitely one of them. If you look at Collision, the first however many weeks it's been now, the first month and a half, we've seen Punk is obviously a big focus. Andrade and House of Black have been a big focus. I still think there's still a little bit of issues there because Andrade got his mask back, but he hasn't faced Malachi yet. You would think that's going to be a match at some point. Does Roosh get involved? Do we do a trios thing? Because hey, House of Black still has the trios titles on this. So Andrade, kind of House of Black have been a focus. Bullet Club Gold has been a focus, and Jay White certainly the main focal point there. And then FTR. Those are the acts that have been consistently on Collision since the very start of the show. So they've really focused on those acts and they've given them consistent time, given them consistent stories. I imagine that'll continue. Where does Ricky actually go? Like, this is where you just got to find somebody who keeps him at a top level after feuding with CM Punk because, you know, Ricky faced Chris Jericho. He technically won the feud with Chris Jericho, but then he didn't have anyone to feud with after that still felt like he was like, oh, he's still a top player on Dynamite. He just kind of faded away for a little bit until Collision did pop up, and then he got to do the stuff with CM Punk. So now you got to find somebody with Ricky, who is seemingly a heel. You got to find a good baby face for him to work with on Collision. Maybe that's Darby Allin. You know, he got the pin on Darby Allin. Yeah. Darby's going to All Out, and he's going to challenge for the TNT title. Maybe Darby Allin's the guy. You run back Ricky and Darby, which they did, I believe, during the pandemic era stuff. So yeah, maybe that was
Ricky's kind of his first feud. That was his first feud when he was with Team Taz. But unfortunately, Ricky, I mean, Darby's got a lot going on right now. He's got
Yes.
Christian and Luchasaurus on Collision. He's got Swerve and AR Fox and Mogul Embassy on Dynamite. He's been the workhorse for AEW because he's been the guy that has appeared on both shows multiple times. So I think that Darby is stretched too thin. So that begs the question: can Ricky even afford a loss? Do you do maybe a 60-minute time limit draw? Or do you have Ricky win by DQ or count out or something like that? Like they have to be very careful with what they do here, because having Ricky lose against CM Punk and not having an immediate follow-up for him planned, that is detrimental. And it's only so many times a guy can kind of climb out of the abyss in this company. And it feels like Ricky Starks, this is like the second or third time he's been able to do that. And it feels like he has that upward kind of momentum that he can be a top player for them. So they have to have that program ready where, honestly, I don't know. I don't know if we should even have a finish, and maybe a stip on this matchup should be the matchup for All In.
Okay. I'm not fully mad at that, but that's why you bring in Ricky Steamboat, though. I imagine we'll get the spot where Ricky tries to grab the ropes, Starks that is, and then Steamboat knocks his hand away, knocks his foot away, whatever it might be, so to prevent him from cheating. I do think CM Punk wins. That's fine. I think Ricky
Punk wins with his hand on the rope.
Oh, that'd be good. I like that.
That's how you continue the feud. Because Punk been crying. I'm sorry. I haven't been rooting for Punk since he's been complaining about this Ricky Starks holding on the ropes. And that's why I liked Ricky's response to him, telling him, like, I just did it before you could. Like, I just did the same thing you always would do. And for Punk to show him that with having Steamboat kick Ricky's hand off the ropes, and then Punk reverses it. It looks like Punk's going to do it fair. And then Ricky Steamboat goes down to count, and Punk holds on to the rope. 1, 2, 3. That's how Punk wins. Then you have the option where you could say, okay, now they're 1-1. Let's do the third matchup.
Okay, so you do the third matchup at All In, potentially. Look, I think Punk's winning this feud regardless. So Ricky's got to take an L somewhere in there, like a clean loss, so Punk can win. And the point of this is, okay, what's the follow-up for Ricky at this point? I'm looking at like the roster, the babyface side, at least on Collision, isn't fully fleshed out. There ain't like Andrade is there, but I don't know if he's working with House of Black right now. I don't know when that gets resolved. It does feel like they're going towards a trios at some point. At least that would make sense considering House of Black still has the trios titles. Like where Ricky and Miro is.
But it seems like Miro's gonna have a program with Powerhouse Hobbs after Aaron Solo attacked him on Collision.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for, because that does pay off what Miro said last week when he said the big fight is coming and it's one you all been looking forward to. And Powerhouse Hobbs versus Miro kind of fits that bill.
Yeah, it does look like Miro and Hobbs is going to be a direction based on Collision and what happened there. Yeah. Wardlow's just been kind of out of the picture since losing the title, you know, so maybe they bring back Wardlow as the babyface, but then it doesn't feel like, okay, Wardlow returns, big babyface pop and everything. Feels like he should probably beat Ricky. I don't know if Ricky needs to take the loss after that. It can be a tricky situation here. I do think if you stretch this to All In, Punk and Ricky, that is, and Ricky loses to Punk at All In, Darby wins the TNT title at All Out, I do think you can do a Ricky and Darby feud and both men can come out of that. I'd like Ricky to win the TNT title. I think that makes the most sense. Darby's a guy who just kind of remains over championship or not. I think Ricky can win that title there, but that feud makes the most sense to me of a guy Ricky can beat who can kind of remain over and not lose a bunch of momentum, especially if they're coming off a TNT title victory. So that's where Trey says if Mox doesn't beat OC, have Ricky beat OC for the international title. I thought about that as well. If Orange Cassidy, him beating Orange Cassidy for that title would make some sense. A says Ricky still gets cheered. He does, but he's a heel. They've positioned him at this point as a heel. I mean, Punk gets booed, gets cheered. He's more positioned as a face, but I mean, he's like you said, he's still complaining a lot. He's still complaining a lot.
Yeah, I would say at this point, I would say the Elite as a collective is the top babyface of the company, and then Punk would probably be number 2. Probably
Orange Cassidy's the top babyface in the company.
Also true. If you talk about single by themselves, Orange Cassidy would be the top babyface. But that's why I said Elite as a collective unit, that feels like the all-encompassing top babyface of the promotion, where you have 2 guys that could be the top babyface, and then you got a top tag team in there. So I feel like they are the top babyface. Then your Punk, then your OC, then your Darby. But after that, after those top guys, it's like kind of a fall when it comes to baby faces after that. And a lot of that comes down to booking and lack of follow-up. Like, where the hell is Keith Lee? Why the hell have we got a Keith Lee versus Swerve Strickland match yet?
I don't think they're doing it. I
don't think they're doing it either. I've given up on that, but all of this is why Keith Lee should be among those guys that I just named as one of the top baby faces in the promotion. And if they had ever just put a bow on his Swerve feud, I think he would be there, but he's not, because they just lack consistency with his booking.
I think the bloom is off the Keith Lee rose at this point, and it could be because there was no real conclusion to the Swerve feud. It could be other things, like he just hasn't been consistently on television. But the time for Keith Lee feels like it's just past. He's teaming with Dustin Rhodes and everything. Like, it's just it ain't. A-Shock says Keith Lee versus Swerve at All In. I mean, it makes sense that you do that at All In, but now Swerve has got AR Fox. He's still feuding with Darby. He's feuding with Nick Wayne. Those feel like bigger I'm kind of just over Keith Lee and Swerve. Like, you missed your opportunity to do it. Not as like individuals. I think Swerve
I get it.
Yeah, I think Swerve's one of the top performers in AEW right now. Keith Lee just hasn't been consistent enough for me, but like, you missed your window to like do the singles match and have it mean something. At this point, it's just like, okay, if you do it, cool. Otherwise, I don't care though. Like, I don't even care if you actually do it, because it just feels like it's not as hot as it was. Swerve has done a bunch of different things since breaking up, and Keith has done different things, none of which have had consistent presence, none of which has been all that appealing to me. Like, cool on the Dustin Rhodes tag team, like, it's been fine, but it's a Rampage act. Anything you put on Rampage, right or wrong, to me feels a little like, especially when it's throwaway stuff like that. It's not like they've had these like big matches or anything. Anything you put on Rampage, I'm not going to care as much about. Rampage has become that B show kind of thing, and they're trying to make it mean something with battle royals for title shots, but the matches, the singular matches on Rampage, don't mean a whole lot to me.
Gone are the days where Rampage would have like a big match, your Pac versus Andrade, your Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros. Like, you'll get the Elite sometimes on the show, but they're versing like the lower tier kind of trio on there anyway, so it doesn't even make that much of a difference. And it seems like with the Swerve Keith Lee thing, they only remember that feud exists when Keith Lee is around. Like, when Swerve's around, he's able to do different stuff. You're able to start a program with him and Orange Cassidy at Double or Nothing, so we have a great matchup for the international title on Dynamite. He's able to restart his whole thing with Darby Allin and finally get a win over him and turn AR Fox heel, which I've been asking for well over a year now. I don't know how long AR Fox been in AEW, but I was like, team up Dante Fox and Killshot again. Just do it. AEW. For Lucha Underground fans, y'all get that. But yes, I've been asking for that. But Swerve is able to do different things. When Keith Lee's around, it seems like, oh yeah, he still didn't finish his whole program with Swerve. So we should put him in there with something with Swerve. It seems like Keith has not done anything else besides stuff with Swerve since they broke up as a tag team.
Keith Lee has wrestled one singles match this year in AEW. It was in April against Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Everything else has just been tag team stuff or multi-man stuff, because he had the match where he teamed with Orange Cassidy and Vikingo. I think he teamed with. He also teamed with Orange Cassidy and Sting and Darby. Like, it's always been tag team and multi-man stuff. He's done one singles match. Like, this is not a knock on Keith Lee. It's just he's been surpassed on the depth chart at this point. Like, him and Swerve were hot at the end of last year as the tag team champions and everything. Since they've broken up, he's just kind of done not a whole lot. Like, he was off television for a while. I don't remember if he was hurt, if it was something else, but like from the breakup basically until the beginning of the year, he just wasn't on TV a whole lot. But it's just, look, he's been surpassed. Whether it's they've kept him off TV, whether it is something more going on with him, in which case I wish him the best. Yeah, but it's an unfortunate reality of the wrestling business, where if you're not on TV, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind type of thing. And this is why every wrestler is afraid. You hear every single wrestler talk about it. Like, I don't want to get injured. I don't want to be off TV. You lose your spot. Like, some guys can overcome that. Some guys and girls can overcome that. Some guys and girls will always just have their spot and it'll be okay. But even those people, you hear Charlotte Flair being like, I don't want to miss TV. I'm worried about losing my spot. Charlotte Flair always comes back. She's immediately in the title picture.
And immediately in the spot she left. Like, it's like,
yeah. Like, people worry about it. Like people are worried about it. That's for sure. And they're worried about it for good reason, because we see it time and time again, where if you are injured, you do kind of just lose that spot. And he's sort of lost his spot as that person on there. He's lost his spot as on the depth chart, and he's been surpassed by a lot of people. And like, I was okay. Personally, professionally, same. I hope that's the biggest thing here. But as far as television wise, I'm not attached to Keith Lee. I'm not attached to Keith Lee as far as what has been presented this year on television.
Yeah, no, I definitely 100% get it, and it's sad that that's the case, that so many people have eclipsed them on the depth chart. I forgot to put in that babyface Adam Cole, but
Adam Cole and MJF are
they're top baby faces. But I mean, I hope that Keith Lee, if it is a health situation, he does get better. But yeah, it just sucks that they just don't, when he comes back, put him in something else. Just forget the feud. If you want to move on, then move on. Don't just care about the feud when he's around, and then don't when he's not around. I'd rather you just move on completely.
I'd honestly rather them just drop it, and then this time next year reference it. Like, hey, remember when we were champions and I never got to whoop your ass in a singles match? Like, I'm gonna make good on that right now. And then the fans who have been following be like, oh shit, here we go. We're finally getting Lee and Swerve. Whereas now it's like, you've done so much with Swerve elsewhere where, like you said, Keith Lee, it's like he's only there to feud with Keith Lee when he's like actually around. Otherwise, if Keith Lee's not on TV, Swerve's doing his other thing. But if Lee is on TV, it's like, oh, he's attached to Swerve for some reason. Yeah. But look, Swerve's moved on. So I think we can move Keith Lee.
I think we are going to get one more, though. I think that the whole setup here, because with AR Fox joining Mogul Embassy, they now have 5 in their unit, 5 active wrestlers outside of Prince Nana, even though I would love to see Nana in a match. You can set up like having a big multi-man matchup at like All Out or All In, where you have Swerve, AR Fox, Brian Cage, and Sons of Gates of Agony versus Sting, Darby, Nick Wayne, Keith Lee, and throw in a random. You know how AEW does, like
Yeah.
Vikingo. Here you go. You're on this team. So yeah, they could do something along those lines, or they could throw in one of like Darius Martin, since he has history with AR Fox, if you want to have it make a little bit of sense. But yeah, they could do that type of multi-man matchup, which I think that's probably the goal by having Darby kind of put together he's seemingly putting together a whole unit. I call it the D12 of AEW, because Darby is the Eminem of AEW, because he's always trying to put his friends on.
MJF and Adam Cole. What was your prediction going into Saturday's collision? Did you think they were going to win? Did you think a turn was going to happen? Where were you before the match on Saturday?
Before the matchup, I was convinced that FTR was going to win and MJF would turn on Adam Cole after the matchup. What I thought was the right decision to do would be MJF and Adam Cole won the match. It just felt like that going into the show. As the match started and you heard how the crowd was reacting to them, it just felt like the whole time, it felt like for the first time, even though I felt like the FTR Bullet Club Gold matchup was better, I had no doubt FTR was going to win there. This one, I had doubt FTR was going to win. I really thought that they probably would go with the hot hand right now, the hot act of going with MJF and Adam Cole. And of course, you could put the titles back on FTR in a few weeks, but it just felt like the right decision right there and there on July 29th, 2023 was MJF and Adam Cole win the tag team titles.
I was in the same boat as you. I thought FTR would win, the turn would happen after the match, and then I thought, but what I would have liked was an MJF and Adam Cole title victory, because they are a hot act, and I think you can stretch a little bit more out of it. And the fact that they stayed together afterwards kind of shows that they realize this is a hot act, and maybe this has always been the plan to keep them together. We'll never know unless Tony decides not to kayfabe his responses in press conferences of what his actual plans were. But the fact that they kept them together shows they know this group, this pairing has some life to it. When will the turn happen? I kind of laid out one scenario of maybe it happens after All Out. They do their match. MJF, after he beats Adam Cole for the title to retain the title, he realizes he has no use for Adam Cole at that point. But we could have seen that turn on Saturday after MJF lost. He could have, all right, well, this tag team thing is kind of over. Now I know you're coming after my title. I've shown my vulnerability. I sacrificed myself for you, so you didn't have to take the shadow machine, and then I lost. That ain't happening again. I'm not showing like that was a mistake I made. Immediately remedy that mistake by hitting Adam Cole. And of course, Cole was suspecting it, expecting it. He had his back turned. He said, do what you got to do. And then MJF decided to hug him.
I love how they played both of those characters. Because everything you said, they didn't say a goddamn word of that. You got all of that from MJF's facial expressions. Like, he told a whole story with crying. Like, he did something selfless, which was try to take the bullet for Adam Cole, and it backfired on him. For the first time in his life, he did something selfless, and it backfired, and it led to him losing for the first time since May of 2022. And he was just so heartbroken. He felt like his world was shattering around him, because he loves having a best friend. He loves having a friend in general, like Adam Cole. But he realizes he can't be the best him in this tag team, in this friendship. So, like, when he had the belt and he was like, I should do it. That's what I should. That's what my brain is telling me. But his heart is telling him, no, you should still be his best friend. Meanwhile, Adam Cole is not a dumb babyface. He's a heel that has reformed. So he knows he turned around and he realized, he was like, I just gave this dude my back. What would I do If I gave someone my back that I want, and you know, deep down inside, he wants something that I have, I would hit him with the title. And that's why Adam Cole was like, yeah, just do it. Just go ahead. Do it to me. And then they both realized that, no, they actually are friends. And that's when they hug. I thought that was great storytelling. And it reminded me of the storytelling from like 2019, 2020 with the Elite. Like that felt like the Hangman holding on to the ropes after the Revolution 2020 tag, as far as like fakes of heel turns or betrayals. That was up there, this one on Saturday.
I absolutely loved it. I'm very interested to see where it goes from here because MJF did say he would give Adam Cole a title shot. Like he did say that. When is that going to happen? You know, there's two major shows coming up. I think MJF and Cole at this point deserves to be on one of those shows. I don't think you can just do this on a random episode of Dynamite. I know they'll probably special title it something, but like I don't think this should be on just an episode of Dynamite or an episode of Collision. I think it should be I think it should be on one of these big shows. And this is where you got to figure out when you're running these two shows back to back, okay, what's going to be on which show to have importance for both of them. And we laid out some scenarios already. Mine was Punk and MJF at All In. MJF wins. MJF and Cole at All Out. That feels like a big enough match to headline All Out in Chicago. Of course, you can do Chicago with CM Punk not headlining. They might be. I don't know if they're going to be up on that, especially.
Exactly. That's why I say I think my scenario is the cleaner scenario, and it has some logic to it of put the bigger matchup. Plus, Chicago, Punk in the main event in a title unification. That's what we want. I wanted that last year, and I went to Chicago. I wanted the title unification with Punk and Moxley to be at All Out, and they didn't give it to me then. So this is a year in the making that All Out gets.
You still got a title match in
We
Chicago.
still got a title match, but it wasn't the same. It was very obvious that Punk was gonna win. That Punk was gonna win at that point. Like, and there was, even though I said I liked the whole booking of that feud up until All Out, there was stuff I would have changed, and more time was one of the biggest change I would have made. So, but if you have that, you know, that matchup at All Out, I think that's cleaner, and that takes care of your main event program. Your other top program, I think, is also going to get much clearer after Wednesday on Dynamite. I think the whole reason you have Jericho and Takeshita versus Sammy and Garcia is for Takeshita and Jericho to win and then get approached by the Elite, or tease that they're going to verse the Elite in some form. And I think at All In London, you get the Golden Lovers reunion, Golden Lovers versus Takeshita and Jericho, and then you do Omega versus Takeshita at All Out.
So I was going to ask about that. One, the report from Fightful Select is that Jericho and Ospreay at All In. So you were saying this is not going to happen, SB3. You don't think it's going to be Jericho and Ospreay, which, for the record, I understand there's a Don Callis link there. Otherwise, you ain't really hit on this at all with Jericho and Ospreay. So you'd be doing a lot of work in the next couple of weeks to get Ospreay in the mix.
I mean, we mentioned Bobby Fish earlier, and you said, "Where's the lie?" And I'm going to ask, "Where's the heel?" I mean, where's who's the baby face? Who's the heel? Where's the
Ospreay's,
heel? Where's
Ospreay's the baby face. Ospreay's the baby face.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it is.
They're in London. He's getting cheered. He's the baby face.
It is the UK,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, as far as the build to it, who would be the baby face and heel in that situation? I know when the match actually comes, Ospreay is the baby face, but in AEW world, Ospreay has been anything but a baby face. So yeah, I don't know how that works out, but I feel like there are much bigger and stronger matchups for Ospreay outside of Jericho. I know it's one that he's wanted for a while, and I know it's a big enough name that fits the build for him having a big matchup at All In. But I'll be honest, I'd rather Ospreay versus Pac. I'd rather we get a clean finish to that, because we got it in 2019 and we never got a clean finish. We got it twice, I think, in 2019 and never got a clean finish. Give me a clean finish for that match.
I'm fine with that if you're just doing a big Will Ospreay type of dream match thing. Like, sure, give me a Pac match. Who's the babyface in that SB3? You got the bastard Pac, who is
he's been a tweener since day one of AEW. It seems.
I mean,
Pac is whatever he needs to be for whatever show he's on.
Yeah, he kind of has. Been a tweener. I mean, he walked out on Blackpool. They're heels, I guess. So that kind of makes Pac a baby face, but he's a bastard. That's what he is. If they do Ospreay and Jericho, then I do wonder what comes of the Elite coming into All In and All Out. I think Omega and Takeshita makes the most sense, whether it be All In or All Out, because you got to wrap the Omega and Callis feud somehow. And Takeshita is clearly Callis's guy. So that makes sense that you would do Omega and Takeshita. What about the Young Bucks? What about Hangman Page? Like, what are we doing with these guys? It is very, I don't know about worrisome, but it's a little odd to me that we're less than a month from All In. I don't know what the direction is for the Elite coming off Blood and Guts either. Like, I don't know. They're facing Jarrett, Satnam, and Lethal on Wednesday. That feels like a sort of a random match. We're gonna do Omega and Jarrett at All In.
They're like, we're gonna give you an easy match after you've been having Anarchy in the Arena and Blood and Guts over the last 2 months. So we're gonna give you an easy matchup here. I could see a bunch of different scenarios. I think that it's not a coincidence that FTR mentioned the Young Bucks during their promo 2 weeks ago. I think that is a route they can go. Honestly, at All In, I would do FTR and Aussie Open. I feel like Aussie Open in that UK where they came up, kind of challenger type of role. I think that would work out. And then you do All Out. Once again, you give the Chicago fans the match they wanted last year, this year, and you do FTR and Young Bucks there for the tag team titles.
All right, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all, because you got to have some type of direction with the Elite and Hangman Page going into All In and All Out. Omega and Takeshita makes sense. Young Bucks and FTR makes sense. I don't know where that leaves Hangman Page, who should be a much bigger babyface. He should be the top babyface in the company. And I don't know what they're doing with him right now coming off of all of this. They got to figure something out for Hangman Page, because all right, I can talk myself into Omega and Takeshita. The Callis stuff makes sense. I can talk myself into Young Bucks and FTR. That heat is always going to kind of be there. I'm looking at the landscape with Hangman Page going into this show, and I'm like, what is there for Hangman Page? Like, honestly, what is A-Shock says Hangman and Claudio? Sure.
I mean, I want him to get away from Black. He's been feuding with Blackpool Combat Club since October of last year. Like, he's been the consistent thread that has connected the whole Blackpool Combat Club Elite rivalry, because that was basically the carry on from the Hangman Moxley feud. You got Dark Order in the chat. That doesn't. We just turned down Claudio versus Hangman. Claudio versus Hangman is a guaranteed banger. But we've seen too much of Hangman versus BCC. The one thing we've seen more than Hangman versus BCC is Hangman interacting at all with the Dark Order. And there's no one on the Dark Order I want to see Hangman versus one-on-one. So no, I am totally good on all of that. If they can go a lot of interesting ways here. If you just want to have like a big matchup, or you have to ask the question, do you want a big matchup, or do you want like the next feud for Hangman to start, or are you just keeping him busy until he's probably the challenger in the fall for MJF, maybe even as early as Grand Slam you could run back Hangman. So it's all about getting him big wins, so you could see something, like I said, Young Bucks would be busy at All Out, but they would need something for All In. They could be maybe a challengers for the trios titles, the Hung Bucks themselves, since they have been very strategic in keeping them undefeated as a trio since they've been reunited. They could face another big trio as well if it doesn't have to be House of Black. And then you could do a big first time singles matchup, Kota Ibushi in AEW, and have it against Hangman Adam Page at All Out. If you just want to give him a big matchup, and Kota Ibushi could win that, or Hangman can get the big win, and that sets him up to be the next challenger for whoever wins MJF and Punk in the main event.
I'd like Hangman to get a story instead of just a one-off. Look, Hangman and Kota Ibushi, great match, but I don't particularly love the idea of getting to that match. I do like Hung Bucks against potentially House of Black at All In, but then it feels like Hung Bucks got to win that, especially if you're going to have Young Bucks challenge FTR the week after at All Out. I don't think I wouldn't have them lose that match and then be like, oh, by the way, watch them compete in a tag team match the following week for the tag team titles. I don't think you want to pin Hangman because I think Hangman should just be a bigger deal than he is right now. Like, he gets the big pop every time the music hits. He is a super pure babyface that the fans are behind every single time. Like, it just feels like he should be doing something substantial, and they don't.
So what do you think he should do?
I'm looking at the roster, and I'm looking at like who he could maybe face that feels like a big match. I'd like to see Hangman and Samoa Joe. How you get there, I don't care. Samoa Joe's awesome. Hangman Page just likes to fight people. Samoa Joe just likes to fight people. That's how you get there. Yeah, you just like that. That's the first name that sort of jumps out to me, because right now it feels like a clean slate with Hangman. He's wrapped up the stuff, hopefully, with Blackpool Combat Club, so you can kind of go wherever you want with him. You know, is he tied to the Elite still? Yeah, probably, but he's not on this Dynamite 200, at least not yet. Man, they're gonna end up doing something like Hangman and Jericho. And I know they're doing like Jericho and Ospreay allegedly, reportedly at All In, but they're going to do like Hangman and Jericho at All Out.
Right. Hangman and Ospreay.
Well, Hangman and Ospreay would be great. I actually love that idea. That's what it should be. That'd be fantastic. I think Samoa Joe makes
It'd be the
sense.
battle of the last two guys that beat Kenny Omega for a world championship.
There you go.
Hey, that just came into my head. See,
I'm for it. There for you. I'm for it. I think Samoa Joe makes some sense for Hangman. Otherwise, like looking at things, the trio stuff with Young Bucks against House of Black makes some sense as well. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot there because it feels like everyone else kind of has something that they're tied up into. But then if. And this is where the roster split can be a little tricky. I know it's not a hard roster split, but House of Black said they ain't working Wednesdays, brother. Are the Young Bucks?
Joe don't work Wednesdays.
Yeah, are the Young Bucks and Hangman Page, are they going to work Saturdays, brother? Like this, I don't know. Maybe
that's why I don't think Joe is the right route, because I feel like Joe has a better matchup for London, and because I don't want all that build to be an absolute waste. He has to versus Zack Sabre Jr. at All In. Like, you did all that build on ROH for what? For what? Like, Zack was fighting Orange Cassidy and Shibata at Forbidden Door, and Joe wasn't even there. Like, what are we doing? So, yeah, I would like that more than Joe and Hangman. I saw somebody in the chat bring up Shingo has a matchup on the Rev Pro show the night before All In. Shingo is a big name where you can have like a dream match where you could do the same scenario. He versus Shingo at All In versus Ibushi at All Out, beats both of them, and now he could say he beat two more world champions, and now he has to beat the number one contender for the world title.
They don't do rankings anymore. SB3.
I know they don't, but you can still say you're the number one contender.
Why? He beat two guys who have 0 record in AEW.
Zero record. Excuse me, sir. Shingo Takagi got a win on the 0 hour of Forbidden
They got
Door.
no singles wins.
And Ibushi is 1-0. Excuse me.
Zero record in
He
singles
will be
matches.
2-0 by All Out.
Zero record in singles matches for Ibushi and Shingo. Those wins don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. There's no rankings. Bring back that right. Somebody in West Hollywood says
I keep my own. I keep my own ranking. Excuse me, sir. Also at All In, I could see them doing Sting and Darby versus Christian and Luchasaurus.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To build All Out.
I imagine Sting is involved somewhere in the All In. Like he's got to have a match on that show. He just has to. Eddie James says House of Black don't work Wednesday. Malachi said he requested to be on Saturdays. He said, and his reasoning was he doesn't want it to be like, oh, I can watch Wednesday and see them. Why do I need to watch Saturdays? It is a thing. His reasoning was like, yeah, you watch Saturday, you get to see House of Black. So that was his. So they feel a little special on that. So yeah, Malachi said he requested to just be on Collision. So yeah, NXT Great American Bash was last night. SB3. We got some time to finish talking about this. Overall thoughts on the show as a whole.
I was very much on the fence on this show leading into the main event. I just didn't think it was on the level of Vengeance Day, Stand and Deliver, and Battleground. It felt like with those three shows, we were on our way to rebuilding kind of like a takeover reputation for NXT premium live events. You know, with Vengeance Day, that had the whole Wesley versus Dijak opener for the North American Championship early in the card. You had Stand and Deliver, had the 5-way for the North American title. Hello.
Sean with his egg run-ins. Hello, Sean.
Hey.
On his phone. You look like you just woke up. Did you get into a fight last night? You look you look a little rough, buddy.
I don't know. Look like he shaved too.
Yeah, like a week ago.
How's the bacon?
I haven't seen you in a while. I'm Fightful substitute teacher. Y'all only call me when you need someone to fill in.
That's true. No bathroom passes required for SP3. You can get up and leave.
How you doing, buddy? How you feeling?
I'm doing a lot better before you told me I looked like shit, Jeremy.
Well, you got like a mark under your eye. Like, am I the only one seeing this? Maybe it's the light. Like,
it's the light, Jeremy.
Okay, all right. Get better lighting. Isn't that what you used to tell me? You're on your phone. I can tell you're just on your phone.
Yeah, I don't want to go upstairs yet.
Fair. You got to go to Detroit this week. That doesn't seem like fun.
Yeah. Jeremy out here acting like I don't work. I'm about to travel to Detroit. Good thing about Detroit is I don't have to get a hotel room. I can just buy a house for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well,
anyway, Jeremy's offended me. Goodbye.
I know how to get him to leave. If I want to get him to leave, I'll just ask for more money and he'll immediately leave.
Or you say he looks like hell.
I love Sean, but he's looking a little rough on this Monday. It's 11:30. Get yourself together. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Wait. What's the time in where is he? Kentucky?
11:30.
It's 11. Oh, it's Eastern. Oh shit. That's no excuse then.
He's on East time.
I thought it was different coast. I was like, oh, I don't know.
No, SP3, we got excuses. We got kids. That's the ultimate excuse for when you don't look your best. Like, you know what? I got kids, man. Give me a break on this stuff. Sean doesn't have the kids excuse. What are we doing?
Man, the kids excuse, man. Sean, you better get busy because it helps out, man. You can use it when you're late, when you don't look right. When you don't, like kids is always the excuse. Like, over the last 3 years, I cannot tell you how many times kids has been my reasoning for everything.
All the time. Yes. If I'm late for something, I'm like, oh, sorry. The kids just had to deal with them, had to get them to bed, or they needed this, they needed that. And it's just easy out. And the wife encourages me to do that too. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like really want to do this. I think I might be late for this. She's like, just say something came up with the kids. Half the time it's not a lie. Like it's like, oh, the kids got sick.
No, it always is. It's always a nugget of truth. It's just how much you emphasize that nugget. That's what it really is all about.
Kids are great for the excuse making. Absolutely fantastic. Some quick super chats real quickly, and then we'll get back to NXT. Caden says Melo is him, and Chi-Town Spurs says if CM Punk is the real world champion, does that mean MJF is the Road Rules champion? Good pop for that one.
I mean, we would have to talk to Mark Long. See where he would be in the ranking. And did CM Punk talk to The Miz before making himself the real world champion? I just have to act that because Miz was the last real world champion, if you remember correctly.
That is true. All right, SP3. I don't know if you finished your thoughts on NXT once we got Sean's run in. Okay, go ahead.
Like I said, on the way to the pay-per-view, it just didn't seem all there. The Gable Stevenson debut might go down in history as one of the all-time worst WWE debuts of all time. Like, because it's what I've seen debuts where the fans did not like the person. I've seen debuts where the person was green. I've seen debuts where the person was versing the wrong guy to be in the matchup with them. I've seen debuts where the booking was just horrible. I've seen debuts where the ending was just so bad, people talk about it for weeks and months and maybe even years to come. I've never seen all of it in one match. Like all the things I just said was that one match. The wrong guy to be in the ring with the new guy. The fans hated him. You're not Angle. Let's go. They cheered Baron Corbin, Jeremy, instead of Gable Stevenson.
Yeah, that is bad enough. Though.
And then they did a double count out. Oh my God. That was like, they did the full clean sweep of how to book a shit poor debut. Like I don't know how to describe it.
Before we get into the main event, gotta talk about this debut for Gable Stevenson. I understand why WWE was high on him, like after he won the Olympic gold. I think he signed with WWE before he won an Olympic gold medal. I think my timeline's very off, but I understand all this. Like he was a wrestling fan. Amateur wrestlers, they always love scooping those guys up. Very successful amateur wrestler. On top of that, winning gold medals and everything. The fact that it's taken him, he was part of like the 2021 WWE draft. Isn't that when he got drafted?
Yep.
The fact that it had taken him this long to get his debut in. I know he had a health issue as well. That's very unfortunate. Glad he, him as a person is what it is. But health, I don't wish ill will on anybody on that. So I know he had like the health issue and stuff. Every time he's been on TV over the past however many years, never popped for me. There's been no real great presence. There's been no real great charisma. I said this last night. I'm watching the show with the wife. And they do that video of just him walking into the arena, right? He's outside and he's walking into the arena. He's like rubbing his gold medal or whatever. And I said to her, I'm just like, he looks nervous and unsure. And I understand like it's your first match and everything, but this is just how he always looks. He just looks like he doesn't know how to play this. It's not even a character. It's just himself. He doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. He was told to walk into the arena and it looked very unnatural. Like just the most unnatural thing in the world to walk into the arena. It wasn't good. Like just that, I was not sold on this. And so here we go with this match. Again, it's taken him this long to even have his debut match on this stuff. This long to have his debut match for this. He's working with Corbin. Say what you will about Baron Corbin. I know a lot of people are down on Corbin. They don't like the character. They don't like it. He's been given this many opportunities. Solid worker, right? Like you can't say that Baron Corbin's work is like bad. You want to call him boring. You want to say that like he doesn't captivate you as a worker. Fine. Baron Corbin knows the WWE style, knows the WWE system, very much in like the Miz, right? And like, okay, is the Miz going to go out here and have like these fantastic 5-star matches every time out? Absolutely not, unless he's working with an opponent at that level. There's a reason Miz gets the spots he gets, and it's because they trust him in those spots to be like, you know what, Miz is a safe guy. He's going to make you look good. He's going to make everything you do look good. He's going to get a reaction for you, and you'll be fine in this spot. There's a reason Corbin got this spot in NXT, because Corbin is very much in that vein. He knows the WWE system. He knows the WWE style. And they went out there and they had this awful match. And I ain't putting this on Corbin because I know Corbin can work to a certain level. He has a floor that he hits with just about any competent wrestler. And Gable, again, just looked unsure, looked unnatural, looked like he was just overthinking everything. There's not, if they wanted him to be Kurt Angle picked it up like that. Gable looked like he looked like he had no idea what he was doing out there. And then the finish on top of all that. This just shows, to me, I think they know it ain't there.
Yeah.
Because if they thought it was there, he beats Corbin. He
Absolutely.
beats him clean, destroys him, does whatever they need to do. Like, the fact that they were like, double count help. I think they know it ain't there. And I'm sure they'll run it back, and I'm sure Gable will win. But to do that finish on pay-per-view in his first match, I think they know.
Such a big sign that they don't believe in him. I 100% agree with everything you just said. I also, the women's championship matchup wasn't that good. Unfortunately, it just didn't seem like they had a good matchup on NXT TV, and they were having a good matchup until the step really came back to hurt them. And I thought they were playing off the stipulation very well, with Tiffany doing different submissions to work over the back. But I don't know if they practiced that finish very well, because it did not come off at all very well. So like I said, I was very on the fence because I liked the opener with the family winning the titles. And like I said, the match overall felt like Sopranos versus Pinky Blinders. I like Dom getting the win in the triple threat matchup. And I thought that, or the Roxanne and Blake Davenport matchup, was probably one of the better matchups of the whole show. But it was only good. Like, the most I could say about any of the matchups up until the main event was very good, and the rest was just really bad or decent. And then we got the main event, and my Lord, I expected this match to be great, but these two men went out there and had one of the best WWE matches of the whole entire year. Carmelo Hayes is someone that I've watched for the better part of the past 6-7 years, since he came up on the New York, East Coast independent scene, and I've got to know him, got to talk to him personally. And so to see him, shine the way he has in 2023, and this felt like the best match of his whole entire career. As someone that saw him on the independent scene, seen his whole entire WWE NXT run, this felt like the best match of his career. And it comes down to being in the ring with, in my eyes, outside of Gunther, Seth Rollins, Ilya Dragunov's the best worker in WWE today. Like, those are the only two guys that I could say is on his level or might be better than his level. And the only person I could say definitively is better is Gunther, because Gunther's pushed him to his greatest matches. But Ilya Dragunov is a banger maker, like, every time. And he knows how to get the fans to care about the beating, to care about him, to to rally behind him, and, be this underdog babyface who will overcome, take all the pain, absorb it, then bring it back harder than ever and beat the heel. And this was a totally different match for him, because if you go back to his Walter and Gunther matches, he played the role of Gunther in this matchup. He played the role of Gunther, and Carmelo was Dragunov, where Dragunov just beat the ever-living crap out of him and chopped him as hard as he can until Carmelo, who is a light-skinned black man, had blood vessels in his chest popping out. Yo, this was enthralling. I love all the big moments. The first 48 catch on the coast to coast was one of the best spots of the whole year from WWE. The way he was taking some of Carmelo's like signature offense, like the La Mystica, where Carmelo's like whole body came down on Ilya's head and he just bounced it off the mat like it was a basketball. And I think the only things that hurt it, and I know I've seen some people online being like, oh, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. And this is why I tell you all the time, Jeremy, only me and Dave Meltzer should do star ratings because we only seem to be the only two that get it right. And I get it right more than Dave because he's little C now. But this is not a 5-star matchup because the finish was literally made to not be a 5-star matchup. And the finish was there to set up a rematch to be better than this one. So this can't be 5 stars if you literally book the finish to not make it a perfect matchup. So it's not 5-star, but it's as close as you can get in WWE today. I think the only matches better from WWE this year than Dragunov and Hayes was Usos versus Owens and Zayn at WrestleMania and Gunther versus McIntyre versus Sheamus. So I can't give it any more praise than that.
We talked to Cam Hawkins, Seahawk, on Friday to preview this show. And one thing I said was Carmelo Hayes has a good title reign where I think everyone knows his presence, he's like main roster ready. He's destined to be like one of their top guys whenever he gets there. My issue with the title reign, and this is not an issue that is even Carmelo's fault. It is just who he's faced so far. He had not been pushed to that level that you'd be like, okay, can he go? Does he have that extra intensity gear? The one time we saw it was kind of the Balor match. And of course, Balor, main roster and everything. But everybody else, again, this is not his fault. He's working with Braun Breaker, who he'd worked with before, working with like guys like Baron Corbin. Again, Baron Corbin's going to work his certain style and everything. Noam Dar, I think he wrestled him on TV. Like he's working with just good guys, but not that level that Dragunov is going to bring out of people. And when we were talking to Cam said it, and I agreed with it, of like, he just hasn't had to. Outside the Balor match, and the Balor match we showed, he raised it. He hasn't had to. Now he's going to have to. Can he do it? He did. Dragunov is that guy who's just going to bring a different level of intensity and a different element out of you. He does it every single time he's in the ring. Because Dragunov just don't care. He don't care if he hurts you. He didn't care if he hurts himself. He is there to inflict pain however he can inflict pain. And again, some guys will relish in that. Some guys will give it right back and they will raise their game to that level. And then other guys will not. Other guys will be like, this sucks. I'm done with this. That's it. And we were going to see what Carmelo had in this. And he showed he can raise his level. I think that's a great thing for Carmelo Hayes moving forward, because it shows he can do this, and it shows when he does get to the main roster, and if he potentially faces guys, when he faces Balor, again, if he faces a guy like Drew, if he faces a guy like Sheamus, we know he can stand up to this and punch them right back in the mouth. Gunther is another guy, because there are guys on the main roster. Seth brings out the intensity in a different way, but Seth is going to bring out a fire and intensity in people like that. So now once he gets to the main roster, we know he can stand up against this. You mentioned Dragunov being like a top 3 worker, basically.
WWE.
Yeah. And I mean, it's true. Like the list of bad Ilya Dragunov matches is not very long. Like he is, every time he steps in the ring, he is excellent. And it is good that he's getting these opportunities in NXT to continue to show it off, because people who watch NXT UK certainly saw it. But, you know, he was, I don't know how many people were watching NXT UK outside of just the sort of big matches against Gunther and everything. He never lost the NXT UK title. by the way.
Yeah.
Like, he had to vacate it due to injury, and then Tyler Bate won the tournament, and then it just went away at Worlds Collide or got unified, whatever it might be. But Dragunov has been this dude for a very long time, and there's clear trust in Dragunov because you don't end Gunther's reign as the longest NXT UK champion unless there is trust and plans for you at that level. And of course there was until he got injured, and then NXT UK just went away. So it's good now that he's kind of picking up where all of that left off in NXT. Look, we know he's that good. I hope it does lead to a rematch. I'm not a star ratings guy. I don't do it. I'm thumbs up, thumbs down kind of person. This was an excellent match. You're right. The finish. So the finish was for the Moscow, there's
Torpedo.
And Trick Williams was there with the title, and Dragunov hit his head on the title and got sort of knocked out. This is on the outside. Trick Williams kind of pushed Melo away.
And it was very telegraphed too.
Yeah.
It was just like so awkward the way they did it, and they shot it where they would like, where he was trying to give Melo a pep talk, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to get the title. You need to see what motivates you. Give me the title. Give me the title." And they kept it on him the whole time. I'm just like, this feels very telegraphed that I know the finish is not going to come until someone connects with this title. I just don't know if it's going to be Melo by accident or Ilya, and it was Ilya by accident. So he combined both basically together.
And then Melo pinned him in the ring after the top rope leg drop. So it was a very good.
Is what they're calling that now.
Yes, it was a very good match. Again, if you want to call it 5 stars, I don't care. It's your rating. If you don't want to call it 5 stars, I don't care either. Don't argue about it online like a dork.
I'm just gonna laugh at you and tell you shouldn't do star ratings.
Wow.
That's me. I'm sorry. I don't get Dave Meltzer. His defense is, we're within a star of each other. We're pretty much the same, so I don't know the big deal. My comeback is, you shouldn't do star ratings. I am the only one qualified. But no, I think it was definitely, if you're high on the match, I'd say it's your favorite match of the year or WWE match of the year. I can't argue with you because it was a hell of a performance from both guys and really kind of saved this show. And it felt like a thumbs down, thumbs in the middle type of show, because especially if you compare it to the other NXT major events that we've seen this year, it wasn't up to par on Battleground. It wasn't up to par on Stand and Deliver. Wasn't up to par on Vengeance Day until we got to the main event. And then we got one of the best WWE matches of the year. So definitely a thumbs up show here. And I did see someone in the chat ask me, what Kurt Angle match would you give 5 stars to? I'm actually doing a classic one, going back in time to different matches, and I have 2 Kurt Angle matches that are 5 stars. Benoit, Royal Rumble 2003, and WrestleMania 21 against Shawn Michaels. Only 8 Kurt Angle matches that are 5 stars to me, though.
I'm trying. Okay, so Kurt Angle mentioned this on his podcast of his 5-star matches and things like that, and he's like, oh, I don't pay attention to it too much. Yeah, the WrestleMania match, the Chris Benoit match, the Austin match at SummerSlam was really good, but the finish sucked, and I think that's
I think the best praise we could give that is that's the greatest match with a DQ finish ever. Like, it is.
Shawn Michaels and Mankind from Mind Games is one of my favorite matches that also had a shit finish.
I would honestly edge it out and say Angle and Austin, because honestly, even though SummerSlam has had some of the best matches in WWE history, that still would be in my top 10 for all time SummerSlam matches. Angle and Austin.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I got to go back.
But yeah, I do agree. The Michaels, and man, I recently watched that for True Rewind, where you can see, I think it's on here, where you can see the review me and Romeo did, and I love that matchup. Love that, especially when you rewatch Michaels' whole title reign. It was so different from everything else.
He just had great matches. Said, the match with Diesel was great. Obviously the
Bulldog,
match with
King of the Ring.
Bulldog, yeah. Yeah, just had great matches. We got some super chats from Caden, my hometown, Cedar Park, Texas. Made me proud in that match. So he's talking about Gable. We booed this man out of the building. Look, man, Gable is. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him moving forward. It sounds like he still wants to compete in amateur wrestling too. It sounds like he might do the Olympics. If I'm WWE, I say go have fun. If you win a gold again, cool. We'll capitalize that on the best we can. But he still needs work. He still needs work in a lot of areas. And I don't know if he, this is the thing of this, like the passion part of it too. Like he talks about like, yeah, I want to do it. But the fact that he's wavered this much and still wants to compete in amateur wrestling, I just don't know if he's like all in with like WWE and just performing on the WWE stage, on the pro wrestling stage. I don't, and again, I don't know the man personally. I don't know these things. He says he's excited, but when you are also like, hey, yeah, maybe I compete in amateur tournaments, I want to do freestyle tournaments and stuff. To me, that just says like, okay, then you're not 100% committed to the pro wrestling aspect of this stuff. Some people can balance that, but for someone new like him, who literally only has one match, that says to me of like, all right, he's not fully committed to this. And that's fine. If he's not fully committed, he's not fully committed. But then you get stuff like you got last night. You get a bad match with not good booking. And I don't know if it would have been better or worse had he won the match. Like on one hand, at least it's like, all right, cool. He won. Now that's great that the first match is out of the way. He's undefeated. You can do all that thing. But the fans would have resented him even more had he won.
But you know what makes this match even worse is the knowledge that knowing that a lot of these matches have been practiced beforehand. Like a lot of times people don't have the opportunity to practice their matches, but because the NXT performers are in the performance center most of the time, they have time to work over their matches for the weeks building up to the matchup. So, like, man, it just makes that match in retrospect seem even worse because they practiced that beforehand. What? Oh, God. I feel for the guy. Who
do we feel for?
He doesn't seem like the nicest person, but I mean, I wouldn't want to be put into that situation. I don't envy being in that situation at all when it comes to him.
Yeah, I guess, but look, I don't have too much sympathy for him, honestly. I really don't.
Fair.
You know? Like,
it's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Malik says Ilya versus Melo or Ilya versus Braun, which was better? I'm gonna defer to you. You were the match rating person. Which did you think was better?
Ilya and Melo's better. Ilya and Braun was one of Braun's best matches, but I think that this was a lot better. It had more time to progress. It had better storytelling, better story beats throughout the matchup than the Braun and Ilya, which was a hard-hitting affair, and they beat the ever-living crap out of each other. And once again, like I said, one of Braun's best matches, but Ilya cleared that with Melo, in my opinion.
Okay. I'd have to go back and rewatch this stuff. And again, my memory is not SB3 like, and I don't track matches in that way. It'd probably be recency bias if I said Ilya and Melo, honestly. But off top of my head, I liked Ilya and Melo better. Yeah. So, all right, SB3. We have Raw tonight. It is the final show before SummerSlam, which is on Saturday night. And the stuff that is announced, we have Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar under the same roof. We have Maxine Dupree against Valhalla. Logan Paul is on the show. And then Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn against Judgment Day, Dirty Dom, and Damian Priest. What are you looking forward to most on this show? And even if it's something not announced that you think might happen.
As far as this show, I just want to see what they do as far as the final build for SummerSlam, particularly with Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, because the last 2 weeks with the beatdown in Atlanta in front of his mom and then Cody's promo following this, I felt like I've been watching reruns. I'd be like, I think I already seen this episode of the feud. I've seen the episode where Brock beats down Cody, and then I've seen the episode where Cody cuts promo, Brock's not in the building. I've seen that a couple of times in this feud. So they really need to stick the landing on the final go home to really kind of build this up as the final blow off of this 4-month rivalry tonight. So I hope that they're able to stick that landing. As far as Seth and Finn, I think that they have been doing a good job of selling people on the possibility that Finn Balor can win. And I've been hearing more and more people, whether it's kind of critics, former wrestlers, fans, more and more say that they think that Finn's going to win at the pay-per-view. And Finn definitely needs the win more. I don't know what it does for the World Heavyweight Championship for it to be changed this soon after winning the championship or the first inaugural champion. But to each his own. It's all about the story they want to tell, and I think they've been telling a really good story so far. Rhea Ripley, if she's going to have a matchup, it needs to be made tonight. Don't make it on social media like they usually would do. They'll do an angle on the show, and then they'll announce it on social media. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez has been added to SummerSlam. Now, at least make it to tonight, so people can get hyped for it. And then that's a 4th women's matchup potentially. So yeah, I think there's a lot of different things that we can look forward to on tonight's Monday Night Raw, but it's all about them sticking the landing for SummerSlam, which I feel like right now SmackDown has had the much stronger build going into the show than Raw has.
Do you think we get a stip for Cody and Brock?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes because we've only been hearing about it for so long. I will defer to you though, as far as what do you think it's going to be, because I've heard everything between last man standing, Texas bull rope, dog collar. I've heard all these different stipulations. I don't see them doing a dog collar matchup because that's way too violent for WWE. And the only time they ever did it in recent memory was on NXT UK because they knew Vince McMahon didn't watch the damn show. Bull rope match, it seems like the most likely possibility. Last man standing, we just saw that from Brock, and I don't want Brock to have the immediate comparison to last year's kind of once in a lifetime tractor last man standing matchup. I don't think they can do anything that's going to match that or be as memorable as that. So I think the bull rope match seems like the call to go. But what do you think, Jeremy?
Bull rope definitely seems the most kind of winning over the fan bases here of what everyone is thinking. They haven't really hinted at anything besides like they're just fighting each other. And they're already doing a no DQ match in the main event. That's Tribal Combat, which is no DQ. Maybe Baszler and Ronda get the fight pit because they're talking a lot about fighting and things. I don't know if they're going to do a stip for this. I think bull rope does make sense because just it makes sense in the fact that Cody's involved, Brock's involved. Sure, let's do a bull rope. I don't want to do the 4 corners nonsense though. I hate that too. So I don't want that at all. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna do a stip. Honestly, I think they're just gonna have a wrestling match, which is fine. No issue with them just having a normal match. If they do, bull rope's the only one that I can kind of the strap match maybe, but again, I don't want them to go 4 corner type of thing. And at that point, you might as well just do like a bull rope gimmick. I think a demolition derby could be fun. Yeah, they should just get in cars and crash. Derby. Yeah, they're in Detroit. Demolition derby, baby. What are we doing? Why not?
Next, you're gonna say they should have a Malice in the Palace matchup.
That'd be great.
Even though the palace has been torn down.
What about an empty stadium match? They tell all the fans, you got to leave for this match, everyone. You got to leave, and we're just going to do this in an empty stadium.
There you go. Empty stadium matchup. Or they do an empty arena matchup, and they go to the Pistons arena.
Little Caesars Arena?
Yeah, Little Caesars Arena. And they just have them fight in there since it's empty.
They just start fighting. They start fighting and be like, hey, if you want to watch this match, head over to Little Caesars. And then you see how many people make their way.
You see people scary.
Yeah. by the time they get there, the match is over, and then you got to try to go back to SummerSlam.
Like, I gotta go back to my seat. I gotta show my ticket again. I gotta get online. I gotta go through security again. Damn it. But yeah, no. I think that at this point, you're at. It feels late. It does feel late to kind of throw on a stipulation. They should have at least been teasing what the stipulation was going to be from the onset of this whole thing with Brock returning and Cody getting the better of him a couple of weeks back. I don't really think, like I said, I really feel like that's the main feud on Raw that needs to stick the landing, because I have not liked the build-up to SummerSlam. If we're just judging it on the build-up to SummerSlam and not everything that's went down since the road to WrestleMania, since Brock's return, they've done nothing to heat this thing up.
It has been a lot of attacks and things like that. That's sort of what they do with Brock, though. I would have liked him if he just attacked Cody. They did this with Davenport, and they did this with Davenport and
Perez.
Yeah, Perez just attacking him at like Comic-Con and stuff.
He should have attacked him on the farm. He should have pulled up to the farm. Like, pulled up in the Cody bus. Pulled up in the Cody bus at the farm. And Brock's got a gun. He's hunting. And then he's like, you see they have the camera view of how Brock's eye view from the gun range looks, and he's going around, he's looking for a deer, and then all he sees is the American Nightmare logo, and then they do it like a western, and you and then they start brawling through Brock's whole estate. That would have been great. See, man, give me the pencil. Give me the pencil, WWE. I'm up in AEW, WWE on this podcast, man. Give me a damn pencil.
You should get the pencil. You should. All right, that's Raw tonight. SummerSlam this week. I promised a big announcement on this show, and Joel Pearl is here for this announcement. I gotta change the overlay. There we go, the 3-person overlay. There's Joel Pearl. Hello, Joel Pearl.
Hi, everyone. How are we doing?
Glad you showed up for work today.
I'm glad I could be here.
Hi, Joel.
Hi, SP3. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Well.
Thank you for coming in today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jeremy.
Joel.
Hi.
You look like you're in vacation mode with this shirt, Joel.
Buddy, I am in everything but vacation mode. Our flight was super delayed last night. My kid was relatively okay, but it's been a busy weekend. So I decided today was maybe a day to not be on the show. And also, I still haven't watched most of the wrestling since Thursday night.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So I'm going to catch up on SmackDown, Collision, watch Great American Bash, and I'm sure I'll catch up on everything else. I'm also looking at this. Duluth, Georgia are about to watch about as much wrestling as I am live, because on August 23rd, they're going to tape 5 hours of AEW programming. They're doing Dynamite and Collision on the same night.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, we're going to get everybody under one roof, baby. Let's see how that goes.
I'm sure Punk will already be very happily sitting in his hotel room in London.
He might just, catch the flight. Do you think Tony just gets like, hey, everybody, let's leave from Duluth, Georgia. Let's get on the private AEW jet and head over to All In. Let's all pack the jet here.
Do you imagine?
And then we hear the story of Punk and Matt Jackson fighting on the plane, like they're Kurt Hennig and Brock Lesnar, and the emergency door opens up.
The elite plane ride from hell.
Then the next episode of BTE, they're going to be like, where's Michael Nakazawa? We don't even know. I haven't seen him since the flight.
He shows up.
Where was he sitting?
Shows up 2 weeks later and he's missing eyebrow.
They was like, where was he sitting? Next to the emergency door. Oh, no!
Oh, that sounds awful. Let's do it.
I'm trying to. Okay. I was trying to fix something in the news chat. I apologize. All right, let's get into mode here. We're gonna throw to me. All right, thank you to the great fans of In the Weeds. Oh, there we go. Look at that.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Joel.
You're
All
welcome.
right. I gotta look like can't blink. That man does not blink when he makes these announcements.
And you have to repeat a couple of words multiple times.
Thanks, Joel and SP3. It's an exciting time to be a fan of In the Weeds, and we're going to level up the In the Weeds programming. I'm excited to announce to all the fans of In the Weeds and Fightful Overbooked that In the Weeds, in effort to level up the In the Weeds programming, beginning next Monday, August 7th. That is Monday, August 7th. In the Weeds will be on the main channel every first Monday of the month. Every first Monday of the month, In the Weeds will be on youtube.com/Fightful. Other episodes throughout the month will continue airing on Fightful Overbooked, but for the first Monday of every single month, In the Weeds will be on youtube.com/Fightful. We appreciate all the support of In the Weeds and all the great fans of In the Weeds. This would not be possible with all the great Fightful and Fightful Overbooked fans who have continued to support In the Weeds. Again, we're going to level up In the Weeds. The first Monday of every single month will be on youtube.com/Fightful. Every other episode throughout the month will continue to be on Fightful Overbooked. Thank you, In the Weeds fans. Justified In the Weeds chant.
In the weeds, in the weeds, in the weeds, in the
People are
weeds.
saying we sold out, man.
Maybe we just bought in, Jeremy.
Yeah, we didn't sell out. We bought in.
Leveled up.
We leveled up.
Congratulations. You deserve it. You deserve it.
I mean, really, all we had to do was tell Sean, you ain't doing nothing on Mondays. So how about a month? I mean, they got a Wrestling Perspective podcast, but sometimes they take a week off too. So we'll take over.
Yeah, I don't know if they actually air on Mondays or anything at this point. I don't know when that show airs. No, so look, people have said for a while, people have asked like, this should be on the main channel. Why is it on the main channel? I've always maintained I don't want this show every day or 3 days a week on the main channel because I like it here on Overbooked. It is a staple of Overbooked. It is just become kind of a flagship show of Overbooked. I did say if we did anything, it would be once a month to be on the main channel as like a preview, teaser, whatever you want to say, because look, there's a big difference in subscriptions between the main channel and Overbooked. So I want to get more eyes, not only on this show, but I want to get more eyes on Overbooked in general. And this is a way to do that. So it is just the first Monday of every single month. That happens to be for August next Monday. We missed it by one day here. But yeah, it's the first Monday of every month. So next Monday, the show will be on youtube.com/Fightful. We'll be reviewing SummerSlam. We'll figure out who's going to be on the show and everything like that. But yeah, we'll be coming on. It'll be our SummerSlam review show. And then otherwise, it's still on Fightful Overbooked. So nobody is going to miss it. We'll probably, I don't know how that would work, Joel, because I do feel like we should still like upload the episode to Overbooked. So the archive is fully there. I don't know. We might have to figure that out.
Yeah, we'll figure that offline. I have an idea, but yeah, we'll see.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's the announcement. Everybody, we once a month we're gonna be on the main channel, and then otherwise nothing really change. Nothing changes. We're not changing the show or anything like that. We're gonna be on the main channel to hopefully draw more attention to the show and draw more attention to Overbooked, so we can continue to pay contributors like SP3.
Yeah, man. More people who come and watch this show, more people who come and hang out in the chat. It's even better. And that way we get a lot more people asking us why we're talking about McDonald's and not wrestling. But you know what? Sometimes wrestling and McDonald's are the same, damn it. And you just gotta enjoy it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm watching it.
That's very
that's
very good how we kind of bookend the show, because I started the show telling you guys how I was, very proud of y'all for what y'all have built here. And then y'all getting a call up. And then it helps my gimmick even more because a whole show got called up to the main channel before me. A whole show. They'd rather call up shows than substitute teachers. You hear this shit?
You deserve it.
SB3, you gotta take one of us out on the first Monday of every single month, and then we're gonna call on you to be the co-host. So if one of us goes down on the first Monday, I legitimately thought, I was like, is today the first Monday? I couldn't remember how many days were in July. I was like, oh, is tomorrow's show on the main channel? Did I screw up this whole announcement, and that tomorrow's show is just going to be on the main channel? It's like the first Monday of every month. That's today, which is not
here. We are.
It actually worked out. So yeah,
Jeremy,
that's
you have to remember the song. It's 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February. That's a freak month.
I do the knuckle gimmick. You do the knuckle gimmick?
Nope.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Every knuckle hump is a 31 day.
Huh.
Yeah.
I prefer
that's what I learned.
How do you do February?
Well, February, it's not 31 days. That's all. Every knuckle hump is 31 days. Every knuckle indent is less than 31 days.
That seems confusing.
That does seem confusing to me.
How's that confusing?
It does. I mean, I just know what months have 31 days. Is that weird? Is that okay? Is that okay for just remembering that it's January, March, May, July? See, I forgot after that.
Yeah, see? Knuckle gimmick. Everybody, use the knuckles. When in doubt, knuckles out.
Knuckles out.
Yeah.
Michael Knuckles out. I'm done.
Michael Knucklesawa. That's awesome.
Joel, do you have anything to plug?
No, I'll be back on Wednesday to hang out with y'all. So thanks for coming and doing this for me, SP3. Thank you for popping in and doing a great job. I'm gonna go watch a ton of wrestling, but I'll hang out until the end of this show.
Book a guest for Wednesday, Joel. We need guests.
Okay. We'll find somebody.
All right. Bye, Joel.
Bye. You can remove me instead.
Why? Remove yourself. Why don't you just sit there?
Okay, I'll just sit here and look pretty.
All right, SP3. Plug what you need to plug.
You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. I decided we're going live in like an hour. I was gonna go live like right now on True Hill Heat YouTube channel, but I need like an hour break. Need something to drink. Need to think about my life, how whole shows get called up before me. But yes, follow me on True Hill Heat YouTube channel. We're going live at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time with our NXT Great American Bash review, where I will give my star rating for the main event of Ilya Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes.
Sorry. Yes. Okay. Everyone go watch that. I keep just getting messages. All right.
I am too. Don't worry.
Go watch True Hill Heat. Apologies that things sort of fell apart there at the last second. Kids, right? Said I could blame kids. I'm blaming kids, which is actually factual. Everyone, fightfulbook.com. Keep it here. New episode of Bread Club. New episode this week. New episode of FMC tomorrow. We're going to talk basketball and all that stuff. Yes, that is that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll be back on Wednesday, whatever day we do this show. Wednesday, Joel Pearl will be there. Unfortunately, we'll let you know who we have a guest. Yes, thank you to SP3 for filling in today. Really appreciate it, buddy. Because I know it was a very late call last night. SP3 got less than 12 hours notice to do this show today. So I appreciate that you filled in on late notice. Bye, everybody. We'll see you.